Yeah. Hi guys. Today we are going to discuss about spinal nerve. Okay. What is spinal nerve? What is spinal nerve? All peripheral nerves are directly connected to the spinal cord. Okay. They can take the sensory information from the peripheral nervous system into the spinal cord, and spinal cord take the nerves information and they can carry forward to the brain. They can analyze the system and they can give the feedback. They can give the feedback into the motor neurons through the spinal cord into the peripheral system. Okay, there is a sensory neurons and motor neurons together to form in the peripheral nervous system. So, what are the spinal nerves we are going to discuss about in this class? Okay, yes. Spinal nerve. Okay, if there any like any mosquito lay on your hand, okay, you can observe the mosquito. That you can watch, there is our optic nerve, they can capture the mosquito and they can give the signal into the brain through the your optic nerve, which is spinal nerve, which is give the information into the brain. Brain can analyze what happened, what is the object. Yeah, brain can recognize that is a mosquito. So that can give the signal into the again motor system for the skeletal muscle. You can hit the mosquito. This is what happened from the hand. This is your hand. Okay, there is a mosquito which is lays on your hand. Okay, so from your hand there is a sensory information is carry forward. Sensory information carry forward from your hand into the first, which part? First they enter into the spinal cord. This is the spinal cord. They enter into the spinal cord first. Spinal cord. This is the dorsal part, dorsal spot. Dorsal root of the spinal cord. Okay, this is the information which is carried the sensory neurons. Sensory neuron, they can carry information into the dorsal part of the spinal cord. Dorsal part. The sensory neurons always carry to the dorsal part, and finally they can reach through the spinal cord into the brain. Of course, this is the cerebral cortex. Brain's cerebral cortex. They can reach the brain. They can reach brain. Okay. From the spinal cord. Brain can analyze. There is a relay center. Brain can analyze the relay center and give the signal into the part of the cerebral part. Okay, which object or which function is going to give the cerebral cortex. Okay, yes, and they can give the signal into the cerebral cortex. like which part they can reach. Sensory information, okay. There is a sensory area, there is a sensory area they can capture the information through this peripheral nervous system, which is sensory neurons. Sensory neuron carry information into the brain through the spinal cord dorsal part. Okay? Yes, these the sensory neurons are what type of neurons? Okay? These neurons are, the type of neurons are pseudo-unipolar neurons. Pseudo-unipolar neurons are the sensory neurons. The neuron type here, just look into here. Neuron is looking like cell body is middle, like this. Neurons are pseudo-unipolar neurons, or cell bodies are like this. Pseudo-unipolar neurons are the sensory neurons. They can catch the sensory information towards the spinal cord of the dorsal root. They can carry forward into the thalamus. Thalamus can analyze. They can give the signals into the cerebral cortex. This is what about sensory neurons. And brain can analyze. Brain can give the signals into the motor system. This can be analyzed, sensory area. They can analyze, they can give the signal into the motor area from the dorsal root of the spinal cord here, ventral root of the spinal cord. They can give the signal into the ventral root of the spinal cord. Ventral root of the spinal cord. They can carry forward the signal into the target from the ventral root of the spinal cord. They can carry forward into the signal into the target. This is the motor neuron. This is the motor neuron. Motor neurons are the type of multipolar neuron. Motor neurons are multipolar neurons. So here you have to observe the things, the sensory neurons carries information always to the dorsal side. Yeah, I'll write another page. Point 1. Okay. Sensory neurons carries information towards dorsal part of spinal cord. Sensory neurons are pseudo-unipolar neurons. Sensory neurons are pseudo unipolar neurons. Brain can analyze. After that, they can give the signal into the motor neurons. Motor neurons. Motor neurons always carry information ventral root of the spinal cord. Spinal cord. Motor neurons are the multipolar neurons. Multipolar neurons. Guys, this is the about the information what is the spinal cord is going to take place. Pseudo unipolar neuron and multipolar neuron together we can call mixed neuron. Though spinal nerve is mixed nerve, spinal nerve is nothing but it is the mixed nerve, one pseudo unipolar neuron, one multipolar neuron. Pseudo unipolar neuron is the sensory neuron, multipolar neuron is the motor neuron. Okay, all together, both together to contact with spinal cord. Spinal nerve is mixed nerve. Okay, spinal nerve is mixed nerve. Spinal nerve is a mixed nerve. Guys, just look into this. Sensory neurons, they can give the information through the spinal cord, dorsal part of the spinal cord into the brain. Brain can analyze, they can give the signals into the back as a motor neuron, ventral part of the spinal cord. Spinal cord ventral part, they can take the information from that and give the information into the peripheral nervous system. The motor neuron is the skeletal muscle going to action take place. This is about pseudo unipolar neuron, which is sensory neuron, and motor neuron, which is multipolar neuron. Together we can call mixed neuron, mixed nerve. Spinal nerves always mixed nerve. All spinal nerves are mixed nerves. This is NEET question, NEET point. All spinal nerves are the mixed nerves. Okay, I hope you guys understand this. What is spinal nerve? Just look into here. Spinal nerve is the mixed nerve. That is the dorsal horn carry the motor information, sensory information. Yeah, sensory neurons, sensory cell bodies are pseudo unipolar. This is the cell body is middle of the neuron, which is pseudo unipolar neuron. pseudo-unipolar neuron. And this is the dorsal root, which is, they can take the information here, and spinal nerve is, which is like mixer nerve. Just look into this mixer nerve. Okay, yeah, we will going to discuss here. You can understand this, guys. Okay, spinal nerve is the mixer nerve. Okay, we are going to discuss another topic, which is reflex arc. Reflex arc. Just look into this diagram. Yeah, this is the spinal cord. This is the spinal cord. This is the peripheral nervous system hand. If your hand touch the warm water, the water, heatable water, if you touch the receptor of skin, they can take the receptor heat pain. There is the heat pain, we can comes under, this is the sensory signals. This is the sensory signals. They can carry information into the dorsal part. Okay, and actually they need to go this information from the spinal cord to the brain in normal conditions. If any extreme conditions, like any accidents, like fire accidents, any like other, like these experiences like cold, heat, waters, okay, we can experience immediately. The who take the decisions to like capture the sensory information and analyze this is the what, and give the information into the motor neuron. The immediate wake, instead of taking, instead of brain, spinal cord itself take the decision called reflex arc. Instead of brain, spinal cord itself take the decision called reflex arc. Okay, yes, this is the spinal cord where the this analyzed neuron we can call interneuron. Interneuron in the spinal cord, they can analyze the information. Analyze the information, that is interneuron. Okay, like in the brain there is an analyze center is thalamus. In the spinal cord there is a neuron which is called interneuron. They can analyze and further they can give the signal into the motor neuron. Motor neuron is effector. Okay, the muscle arm is the skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle is somatic nervous system. Understand? Reflex arc mean if any experience like heat, the receptor they can take the pain which is to the sensory information towards the spinal cord. Spinal cord can analyze what happened and take the decision and send the signal into the motor neuron. The signals do not go to reach the brain. Actually, in the some emergence cases, spinal cord itself take the decision called reflex arc. I hope you guys understand. Okay. Yeah. This is the reflex of knee jerk. Okay. Yeah. There is a like patellar reflex arc. Okay. Yeah. This is the skeletal muscle. The sensory neurons, if the hit with the hammer in the knee, okay, the sensory neurons, they can carry into the spinal cord dorsal part. There is an interneuron. This is the interneuron. They can analyze, give the signal into the motor, this muscle, skeletal muscle. Knee jerk is, they can towards the front side. This is also question, NEET side. Okay, knee jerk is, the jerk is going to move front side. Okay, yes. Okay, there is an interneuron which is the decision maker. Okay, relay center, gray matter. Okay, motor neuron, they can give the signal into the somatic nervous system, skeletal muscle. Okay, this is white matter, this is spinal cord. Okay, dorsal root is sensory root, sensory neuron. Ventral root is motor neuron. Motor neuron is the ventral root. Ventral root. Just observe it, guys. I hope you guys understand this. Yeah. Once again, go through this. What is spinal nerve? What is spinal cord and spinal nerve? Okay. Spinal cord, it is like gray matter and white matter, and a ventral root and a dorsal root. Yeah. Sensory neurons are pseudo-unipolar neurons. They can give the signal into the dorsal horn. And interneuron and motor neuron are a ventral horn. Multipolar neuron, they can give the signals from the motor neuron. Okay? This is the pathway. First, this is the pathway. Sensory neurons, they can give the signal into the pseudo-unipolar neuron. Pseudo-unipolar neuron, they always go through the dorsal part of the spinal cord. There is an interneuron. After that, they can analyze, give the signal into the motor neuron. That is ventral part of the spinal cord. That is multipolar neuron actually. Okay, multipolar neuron, they can reach the target finally. This is about the order of this like spinal nerve. There is a order. Okay, I hope you guys clear understand. This is about the mixed nerve. Spinal nerve is the mixed nerve. Yeah, these points, guys, you have to come across this point. This is the important for NEET, guys. Important for NEET. Most important for NEET. 5-star. This okay, statements all you have to read. Okay, this is important. And this is the reflex arc. Reflex arc, spinal cord itself take the decision instead of brain. Okay, this is about the reflex arc. This is knee jerk. Knee jerk always move upward, always move upside. This is important. Always move upside. This is important for exam. Okay, they did ask previously. Okay, skeletal muscle always motor neuron, and dorsal part is the sensory, and spinal cord, which is analyzed. There is a interneuron. This is important. Okay, I hope you guys understand. Interneuron is there between the like interneuron is there between the sensory neurons and motor neuron. Okay, this is about spinal nerve, and this is about reflex arc. I hope you guys understand this. Thank you. Tomorrow we will going to discuss about the functions of brain.